Hello and welcome to the placement information for your Cert 3 Individual Support course. I am the Individual Support Coordinator. Please contact me if you have any questions regarding your placement. The Individual Support Coordinator's role: providing advocacy, support and communications between the facility, student, trainers and management. To build and sustain a rapport with host providers, to provide documentation to the facility including the agreement form, insurance policies and shared details. To report any incidents and accidents immediately. Steps before placement. Have you successfully completed the core subjects and practicals? Do you have your ID card and uniform? Do you have your vocational placement agreement form? Have you obtained your police certificate? Do you have proof of influenza, flu vaccine? Do you have your statutory declaration form? Do you have your student placement request form? Have you researched your area for a placement location? Have you been successful in obtaining contacts with a facility that will have you? Do you have your ID card? Please send in a headshot photo of yourself. This can be emailed to your trainer. An ID card will then be sent out to you. The ID cards can be used for student discounts at shops and movies and things like that, so they're very good to have. Do you have your uniform? Please send in your size +1. So if you're a size 14, please tick size 16. The uniform is yours to keep. If you require a second uniform, it will be $20. This can be paid through cash to your trainer or via credit card through the office. Do you have your vocational placement agreement form? This form is an agreement between the student, My Path Education and the organisation where you're doing placement. You will need to fill in the student details in the centre of page 1 and sign the top of page 2. Have you obtained your police certificate? We have given you a link for the Queensland Police Service. This link will get you a full disclosure police certificate which will last 3 years and is for you to keep. You will need to bring this on your first day of placement. This will also need to be emailed to your trainer or to myself. Do you have proof of influenza or your flu vaccine? This can be obtained by a blood test results through a doctor's letter or the receipt from having an influenza vaccine. This will be needed on your first day at placement and is a requirement now by law to enter into a nursing home. Do you have your statutory declaration form? This will need to be signed by a JP or anyone on page 2 that is authorised to sign these. If you have lived in this country only, please tick the second box. However, if you have lived outside of Australia, you will need to declare and tick the first box. Student placement request form. If you have already got placement or you are working in the health industry, then please let me know. You may be able to have your work placement book signed off through your workplace if they meet requirements and if you have met the required criteria. If you have approached facilities on your own behalf for placement, please email me that information. We will need their company name, the contact person who is responsible for placement, their phone number and email address, and address of the facility. This is important as the coordinator needs to send in insurance policies on your behalf. If you need assistance in finding placement, please contact the coordinator stating what dates and times you have available. Please remember that placement is 5 days a week, Monday to Friday, for 3 weeks. This equates to 120 hours, which is required by law for placement. Please be aware, if you have any issues having 120 hours, 3 weeks placement, or you want to do part-time, then you will have to organise your own placement, as you will know all the details about when and when you can. Please look for placement at least 2 months before you are available, due to the time it takes for facility availability and processing. To gain your qualification, you will need, as per government legal requirements, to complete the 120 hours of practical placement for your course completion. This placement has to be completed prior to your certificate being issued, assuming that you have been marked as competent in all units. If you do not complete all your placement hours, you will be still issued a statement of attainment for your units that you have successfully completed. Things to think about before obtaining placement. Think about the availability for placement hours. Organising time off work if you are currently employed. 120 hours is 3 weeks, Monday to Friday. There will be no night, weekend or public holiday shifts during aged care placement. Personal health. Childcare if you have children needing supervision. Transport, how are you going to get there? Consider looking at facilities close to you, as you will need to factor transport and travel time into your working day. Shift times can range from within 0600 hours to 1530 hours for a morning shift, or 1400 hours to 2200 hours for an evening shift. This is 6 o'clock in the morning to 3:30 in the afternoon, or 2 o'clock in the afternoon to 10 o'clock at night. Immunisations. Proof of influenza vaccine is now mandatory. There can be other requirements such as hepatitis B or varicella vaccine, which is chickenpox. Have an up-to-date resume. About obtaining placement. MyPath Education has various relationships with a number of facilities and organisations across Queensland for a possible student placement. MyPath Education can organise work placements for students who enrol face-to-face classes as part of the course, though you can choose to obtain placements on your own behalf. Self-paced and online students are required to approach facilities on your own behalf first before requesting for MyPath to organise a placement facility. If you need support obtaining placement, contact the Individual Support Coordinator. If you refuse offered placement, you are then required also to find your own. If you do not attend the hours organised by MyPath for your placement and need to extend your placement hours, you will need to organise this yourself with the facility. If you choose to do additional subjects for community or disability, you may be required to split the hours in different placements in order to achieve the practical skills required. The easiest way to obtain the practical component of your course is to approach a relevant organisation in the field you are studying. For Certificate 3 in Individual Support Ageing would be to seek placement in an aged care facility. Preferably visiting the facility face-to-face is the first option. If you are unable, phone is a second option, and email should only be used as a third option. You will need to talk to the facility's student placement coordinator within that organisation. You will need to obtain details such as the facility's name, organisation address, phone number, and contact details of the student placement coordinator within the facility, such as an email and phone number and their position, for example, clinical care manager. What to do if you already work in the industry. If you already work in aged care, community or disability, you may be able to have your logbook signed off through your workplace if you meet the requirements. You must be doing the work of a staff member in the role pertaining to the certificate you are doing. You cannot be working in the kitchen in aged care, for example, or doing domestic work in community. If you can do extra shifts doing an AIN, PC, DSW roles, that is acceptable. Your organisation must be willing to sign off on the logbook. The organisations can contact the coordinator if they have any questions regarding placement. You must be working with a minimum of 3 clients or residents in your workplace. Please discuss this with the Individual Support Coordinator if you have any questions. Contacting facilities via email. It is important to have a professional email when contacting facilities for placement or employment. Unprofessional email example, fluffybuns@hotmail.com. Professional email example, agoodsstudent@hotmail.com. Try not to use numbers, and if you have to use numbers when creating a new email, don't use the year you were born. Workplace incidents and accidents. In the event of an incident or accident occurring, you must report this to the facility supervisor or manager. First aid must be obtained where required. You must report to your trainer and individual support coordinator as soon as possible. You will need to complete all necessary documentation required by the facility. MyPath Education's responsibilities: to provide you with your logbook and explain what is expected for successful completion, to facilitate you during your placement hours. Some locations will not sign off on your logbook. This will then be completed by your facilitator. To attend any urgent incidents, concerns or issues, to report any incidents, accidents or issues, to liaise between the student, the trainer, the placement facility, to obtain all relevant supporting documentation, for example, the agreement, contract, insurance policies, etc. Facility responsibilities: to provide a safe, supervised working environment, to provide current information and full on-site induction. This can include manual handling instruction, hand washing competency, information on elder abuse, bullying, duty of care, dignity and confidentiality. To inform you of who the manager is to report to in the event of a concern. In some cases, the organisation will sign off on your demonstrated abilities. Your facilitator can also observe you on placement and sign off on your logbook. Important student responsibilities: dress professionally as instructed. Have a professional attitude, behaviour and a friendly disposition. Be punctual, reliable and give attention to detail. Listen, learn and ask questions. Follow direction within the workplace. Feel safe and comfortable and build your confidence. Keep track of your logbook. Report any concerns, issues or incidents or accidents immediately. Keep in contact with your individual support coordinator, replacement visits and if you are absent. Be drug and alcohol free as per MyPath Code of Conduct. Students can be removed from placement by the facility and MyPath management if there are concerns. What you need for placement: your name badge and student ID card, your logbook, correct uniform, your police certificate, orientation day only, your proof of influenza vaccine, first aid and CPR certificate, orientation day only, morning tea and lunch, a black pen and small notepad, and a positive attitude. Your logbook. Your trainer will issue you with your logbook to be completed during placement. If you have any questions in relation to this, please contact your trainer or your coordinator. Your logbook is your responsibility and is to be taken each shift to be signed off by staff. Placement etiquette. Look professional. You will need black, non-slip, non-porous shoes, black pants, shorts, and a student shirt. Wear your name badge and have your student ID for insurance purposes. No jewellery, facial piercing, wedding rings are usually acceptable. Have your hair up, clean and tidy, and facial hair trimmed. Nails clean, trimmed, and with no artificial nails or nail polish to be worn. Be aware of body odour and bad smoker's breath. Be punctual. Turn up 20 minutes before shift and never be late from a break. Show initiative and ask questions. Show compassion, respect and dignity and abide by confidentiality protocols. No mobiles or phone calls to be made on shift. And please never eat food meant for a resident. What you need to remember and to do and wear. Turn up on time. Please, leggings, jeggings, jeans or tracksuit pants are not acceptable. Shorts length needs to be to the knee. Runners, sneakers and any colour other than black shoes are not acceptable. Ensure they are non-porous. Remember your paperwork, including your police certificates and proof of influenza vaccine. Remove all jewellery, including watches and bracelets, and this includes facial piercings. Points to remember. You are adults. You are responsible for your own learning and attitude. Treat placement as a 3-week interview. Facilities are not paid to have you and can ask you to leave. Be appreciative. Students can fail at this point in the course. If you fail to complete placement, you will receive a statement of attainment, but not the qualification. Trainers assess students over the whole course timeframe, including attitude, dress, punctuality, problem-solving skills, following direction, working in a team environment, submission of assessments, building rapport and communication. Being a referee is not part of a trainer's job role. Leave your personal life in the car. It's all about the resident. Applying for employment. The following will assist you in making the first steps less intimidating. Research the organisation and the role you are interested in. Write down any questions you may have. Call to the organisation to see if they can assist with your questions and find out more. Ask them about the application process if it is not outlined on the job advertisement. Complete the required documentation, which may include police certificate, first aid and CPR certificates, updated resume or CV with a tailored cover letter. Submit your application, and if you have not heard back in a week, follow up with a phone call. Additional information. Dignity of care and privacy. What is duty of care versus dignity of risk, abuse and neglect. Following this video, click Next and complete all sections on page 2. Please then submit. Good luck with your Certificate 3 Individual Support course. I look forward to meeting with you nearing your placement.